Pregnancy is like a life and death situation. You have to be sure that you are ready for this life and death situation. Pregnancy is not always smooth. And here are 5 risks that comes with pregnancy that every woman should know. Pregnancy is beautiful, yes, but there are some risks that we are not talking about enough. The first one, gestational diabetes. This one sneaks up on you and you're just like, what's going on? You don't know. I've had 2 encounters with it, my second pregnancy and my third pregnancy. So because I had it in my second pregnancy, I had to be monitored for my third pregnancy. So if I should get pregnant again, I'll have to be monitored for that again. So it will not sneak up on us and cause major problems. In my case, in my second pregnancy, my baby was gaining so much weight. My entire second and third pregnancy, I didn't gain up to 7 kg in total from the 1st to the 9th month, and the baby was massive. My babies come at 37 weeks or 38 weeks, but they're already at 4 points. I had my second child at 37 weeks and 3 days, and it was a 4.1 baby or 4.04 baby kind of. And then my last baby, I had him at 38 weeks and it was 4.15. So if I had gone full term, it would have been and I think, let me just tell you what gestational diabetes is, but I'm going to have to read it out so that you guys can. I'm just going to give you a very simple definition of what it is so you can know. So gestational diabetes is a type of diabetes that develops during pregnancy. It doesn't matter if you have an underlying diabetes issue before, or low blood sugar or high blood sugar. It doesn't matter. It just develops during pregnancy, and it can affect both the mother and the baby if it's not properly managed. So that is why you have to be monitored. You have to be managed. I have about 4 or 5 during my second pregnancy, and I had more during my third pregnancy, just to make sure that my diabetes was not going high or it was not going to cause me any issue, but I was monitored closely. And then number 2 risk you should know is preeclampsia. I have done a video similar to this before, but you need to know this. Like, I'm doing this so that you're not going into pregnancy unplanned and unprepared. You have to be prepared for everything. Pregnancy, like I said earlier, is not always smooth. Things can go wrong, but I want you to be prepared as possible. Like, you know things beforehand, you'll be educated. When you get pregnant, do your research, discover things. I think one thing I didn't do in my first pregnancy research about was tears, and that pregnancy I had a 3rd degree T, and that's my first pregnancy. So after then, I was educated about tears. So moving on, like I said, preeclampsia. This one I had it with my second. No, not that I had it. I had a scare for it both in my second and my third pregnancy, and I was closely monitored for it. This one, it can take both your life and your baby's life. It can make you go into preterm labor, and they can decide to deliver your baby earlier if it is not properly managed. Some preeclampsias can be managed with medication, you being in the hospital, but sometimes you need to deliver the baby ASAP. Sometimes the way out of preeclampsia is emergency C-section. So you have to be prepared. And I'm going to read out what the meaning of preeclampsia is so that you can understand it. Here is just me explaining everything. So preeclampsia is a condition characterized by high blood pressure and signs of damage to other organs, often the liver, the kidney, and it can be serious if it's not treated. It can be deadly if it's not treated. That is just what it means. So if you start having blurry vision, headaches, your blood pressure is spiking. During my second and my third pregnancy, I had to monitor my blood pressure morning and night till I had the baby, and 2 weeks after I had the baby, because there's also something called eclampsia or something like that. Is the preeclampsia that happens after you've already had the baby. When you have sudden swollenness, like your face is swelling, your hands are swelling, your legs are swelling, please run to the hospital. Run. Another one is placenta previa. This one, I had it in my second pregnancy. It was confirmed by 2 senior sonographers and my doctor and 3 other doctors. Let me tell you how this happened. So at 30 weeks, or is it 32 weeks, I went in for regular antenatal to see my doctor, and then she requested a scan, and I went in, and the sonographer that did it, I took about 30 or 40 minutes with her. She was just checking. She didn't tell me anything. She told me to go back to my doctor. And when I got to my doctor said, okay, let's go back to the scan room. So my doctor also, I think she's also a sonographer, I don't know. But we went back to the scan room. She checked. I was in that scan room for over an hour. She called 2 other senior doctors, 2 senior sonographers to confirm that I had placenta previa. Immediately, I was put on bed rest, closely monitored, because placenta previa, let me read what it is before I continue with my placenta previa story. So placenta previa is when the placenta covers the cervix and makes it difficult for you to have a vaginal delivery. So in this case, they most likely will opt for you to go for a cesarean section. So this happened that I found out I had placenta previa at 32 or 30 weeks pregnant, and we were monitoring it. At 37 weeks, I came back, and for some weird reason, I just told my doctor, please, can we do my scan again? The placenta previa scan. Let's do it again. I just have a feeling that, I don't know, let's just do it again. She was like, Mrs. Adizi, you're very stubborn. This placenta previa is not going to move. There's no miracle that will make it move. There's nothing like, and I'm like, can you please indulge me? And she was like, because I have too much problems, she just indulged me. And then she was like, okay, let's go to the scan room. I went to the scan room. The same thing happened again. The sonographer checked and she was like, oh, nothing is happening, like everything is fine and everything. And I went back to her for review, and then she took me back to the scan room again. She checked, she called those same doctors that she called before, called senior sonographers and everything, and they confirmed that my placenta moved. I don't know what happened. I don't know the miracle. And best believe I had my baby 2 days later, vaginally. It was a whole crazy experience. Another pregnancy risk you should know is preterm labor. This one is when you start having contraction before you get to 37 weeks pregnant. Full term is considered 37 weeks, and anything under or before then is called preterm labor. And I have had 2 experiences with that as well, my second and my third pregnancy. At 32 weeks, I started having preterm contraction. I can remember this, my third one, vividly, because I even drove myself to the hospital. I was having something like stomach ache, cramps, and everything. It was coming frequently, like every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes. And I drove myself to the hospital because I was having antenatal on that day. And as I got there, my doctor was like, okay, what's wrong with me? Why am I squeezing my face? I'm like, I think I'm having contractions. And because she monitored me for my first pregnancy, that I also have similar experience at 32 weeks. So she was immediately, she checked me. She was like, okay, Miss Azizi, you're having preterm contraction. We're going to admit you. And there's this injection that I don't think I can ever forget. I think it's magnesium. I can't pronounce that thing. Magnesium. I think that it's called the air fire injection. See, you will have hotness. Like, it will be so hot from every hole in your body. My nose, my down there, my ears. Like, it was a very hot injection. I had it in my second pregnancy, and I had it in my third pregnancy because I had preterm contraction at 32 weeks. Like, I will have a YouTube video of me being in the hospital for my third pregnancy. You can check my YouTube and watch it. It was a crazy experience, and I don't wish it on anybody. That's why you have to know all these things beforehand. Don't go in pregnancy blindly. Pregnancy is like a life and death situation. You have to be sure that you are ready for this life and death situation before you go into pregnancy. Another pregnancy risk that you should totally know about is miscarriage, and this happens more than we know. Like, miscarriages happen more than you care to know about. So miscarriages most times happens before your 20 weeks. So let me read something about it. The miscarriage is basically the loss of pregnancy before the 20 weeks mark, and most occur in their first trimester, the first few weeks, and can be a form, or it can be as a result of genetic or health issues. So you have to stay at the top of your game. You have to know what you're doing. I've had 2 miscarriages. I had one just before I had my second pregnancy and my second baby, and one immediately before I had my third, which made me feel like maybe my third child was still that other pregnancy. But when I asked my doctor, she was like, no, that the other one was expelled, because I went for scan. They showed me what the thing was. They gave me a drug to bring it out, and lo and behold, I think I got pregnant immediately after. And that's where I now had my third baby. See, miscarriages happen more than you think, and there are different types of miscarriages or pregnancy loss. There's chemical miscarriage. There's a whole lot. Please do your research and make sure you stay on top of your health as much as possible. So hope you have learned a thing or two today. See you guys on the next one. Bye.